Some of the darkest things people have ever done or lived through are things that they've kept to themselves for years, and secrets that completely altered their lives. But anonymously on Reddit, people have finally started telling these stories. Today, we're looking at some of the most chilling confessions I could find. If you're new here and into horror content, go ahead and subscribe. I am now trying to hit 500 subscribers, and check out the Spotify if you want videos early. Link is in the description. With that out of the way, let's get into them. I killed my little brother. So yeah, throwaway for obvious reasons. I won't embellish this any more than I have to, but you need to know that when my brother and I were younger, we'd go on what we called adventures, such as building sites, tunnels, and forests. You get the drift. Our parents were pretty chill about us going off on our own and exploring, despite us being only 10 and 8. They were relaxed like that, and we only told them we were going to the forest behind our house so they didn't know the dangerous stuff we got up to. We often came across this fast, flowing river, and we'd muck around, pretending to throw each other in. One day, my brother ended up falling in, or well, I pushed him in. But he had terrible balance. It wasn't much of a push. I had a stick and went to help him out. I was laughing so hard I could barely hold the stick steady. He went to grab the stick and I pulled it back just out of his reach. Like I said, I found the whole thing really funny. It was at that point I could see he was in serious trouble. He was frantically trying to jump above the surface of the water, but his mouth was filling with water every time and he was useless against the current. I almost doubled over with laughter at this point. I could hear him screaming for help, so in my most heroic voice, I said, "Don't worry, I'll get our parents." I started running away, but just out of eyeshot. Not that I imagined he was actually able to see me. I started a slow walk, and then a comically slow walk for my own amusement. Eventually, I ran around in a few circles to get out of breath, and I ran heroically into our house where my mom was with a group of her friends. She angrily told me to go away, and I was so tempted to do so, and then explained later innocently how my brother died because she didn't want to be interrupted. I decided against it though, as that would be a bit too weird. Anyways, I theatrically, through panted breath, explained how my brother had fallen in and I was worried he might be struggling. I didn't say he was really struggling because I was worried that they'd hurry too much. Also, I was glad I was pretending to be totally out of breath because I was smiling like in Egypt. I still to this day can't tell people bad news without a shit-eating grin appearing, although luckily people just think it's how I cope with grief, so it could be worse. So, back to the story. We all go running out, all the adults, even my mom, who's got a bad leg. We run to a completely different part of the river because I am leading, still trying not to laugh. And then, when he's not there, my mom starts crying, so then I get to be the hero leading her friends onwards as one stays with her. I was thinking then, she's a shit mother, just leaving her youngest son to drown while she has a little cry. We spent the next 3 hours before it got dark looking, and so I start to freak out. What if he's okay and he tells on me? I mean, I made it look like I was trying to help, but what if he suspects? My dad comes to find us. He's now home from work, and we stay up all night in the kitchen while some locals in the local emergency services search with flashlights. By this time, I am proper worried he's going to tell on me or the police will blame me, so luckily I am no longer worried, and my parents, seeing how upset I am, are making sure I am okay. I love the attention. I even managed to muster some tears. Also, I realized later that my parents weren't out helping the search teams because they wanted to make sure I was okay. Suddenly, it's light again. I realize I must have fallen asleep I am alone in my room and I go downstairs to find my parents crying. They found my brother just after dawn. Supposedly, his body washed up on one of those sand bits, when the river meanders and part of the bank is like grit. Yeah, they found him washed up there with his face and body all cut up. Sucked for my family because they're Catholic and an open coffin is their whole thing. After that, I basically got anything I wanted, although they were extra protective from then on. Also, all the teachers in my extended family were so nice to me. I even got extra time in my exams and got away with some shit at school that most people would be expelled for. I think my mom probably feels a terrible guilt for having been so relaxed with us both. So, that's my confession. I didn't actually kill my brother, the river did. Although, I always wished I did, unless you think this counts. There is more to the story, and genuinely can't continue reading it. It's too disgusting, and I was already tired of reading this guy's thoughts. I could feel my blood boil while reading it. Especially, he has no regret, no remorse, and he just really drives that in at the end. And it just angers me a lot, especially having brothers of my own. Let's move on. I could have saved my bully's life, but I let him die. I grew up in a fairly small town, and from elementary through high school, I had the same bully that I would call D. D would always pick on me and beat me up whenever he got the chance. He, for whatever reason, just wanted to make my life hell. During our junior year of high school, we both got our driver's license around the same time, and we both drove our cars down the same 2-lane county road to get home. And every day, D would try to race me or swerve into my lane to get me to slam on my brakes or throw something at my car. He did this up through our senior year of high school until he died. It was 7 years ago today. We were both driving home from school, and D was once again being an asshole and was trying to race me home. That day, I decided to try to beat him and keep him from getting in front of me. We were approaching a sharp corner, and I slowed down, allowing him the chance to pass in front of me. At the same time, another car with a drunk driver was coming the opposite way and lost control through the turn. He slammed into D's car right in the driver's side. D lost control of his car and went down the embankment into a tree. I swerved to avoid the crash. I kept driving. I didn't stop. I felt like he deserved it and he should die for all the torment he caused me. D had suffered multiple injuries and internal bleeding. It wasn't for another 30 minutes before another vehicle came along and stopped. It was my dad that stopped, a county sheriff. He knew who it was when he stopped. He had dealt with D's dad a few times for being a drunk. He knew who D was and that D picked on me. He still tried to save D's life. It was too little, too late. D died in my dad's arms. I've never told anybody that I witnessed the accident and that I could have got help sooner. D could still be alive if I had. Even though I hated him, I wish I would have saved him. I didn't know I would hate myself more for not doing anything. I am the reason my brother's face and life is ruined. When this happened, my brother was 17 and I was 19. At the time, we were very close and good friends. It all started because I liked a girl. Yeah, seems harmless enough. This girl had a psycho boyfriend though. He wasn't happy about me dating his ex, so he decided to shake my address out of my girlfriend and then showed up outside my house to throw acid in my face. He knocked on the door and my brother was the one to answer. He then threw acid in his face. I got a call from my father, who was in tears over the phone, telling me that my brother had been attacked and that I need to come home so he can drive me to the hospital. His burns were some of the worst you can get, and I couldn't even recognize him when I got there. Every time I see him, I feel so much guilt. that was meant for me. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I wish it happened to me. His face was pretty gruesome after that. He was unrecognizable. The whole situation was incredibly stressful for him and our entire family. I can't even comprehend what he must have been going through. His looks and his whole life destroyed simply because I chose to talk to the wrong girl. I hate myself so much for this. I wish I just never talked to her. I wish it never happened to him. Once he was out of the hospital, my brother became incredibly depressed. He refused treatment because he knew it wasn't going to be fixed. He started to push away everyone, even me. I just stood by and watched as he destroyed himself more and more. I couldn't stop him from pushing everyone away. He became such a bitter and hateful person. He also said, I am the reason this happened to him. And he is right. Not too long after he started to go even more off the rails, he turned to crime, drugs. He got involved with bad people, and revenge was basically on his mind all the time. He wanted to get the man who ruined his life. Understandable, I guess. Although, this obsession is still ongoing to this day, and it has been 5 years. My brother is now physically and mentally unrecognizable. He has become a monster, and my parents can no longer look at him anymore as they know it too. We all feel unsafe around him, even me, as I have heard stories about the things he has got away with. He has hurt so many people and done so many horrific things. My brother was once a kind, happy person, but now he's just filled with hate and rage and bloodthirst. Every time I think of him, I just feel ill. I am the reason he became what he is now. I am so sorry. Edit. I forgot to mention the guy who attacked my brother only got 20 measly years in prison. And yes, I did break up with the girl. I don't really have much to say about this story. It is just so tragic. My dad was murdered in front of me, and I never told anyone. I grew up in a shitty neighborhood. My dad was a minor drug dealer. My mom worked at a grocery store. We had basically no money. My mom died from cancer when I was 10, very suddenly. So it was just me and my dad. He got more involved with selling drugs over time. When I was 13, he had 2 men over, both of whom I sort of knew as his associates. And they sort of hustled him down very suddenly and yelled at me to go to my room. I went, but I could still see them through the crack in the door. They hit him again, and he tackled one to the ground, and the other guy took a knife and started stabbing him in the back. Watching the knife go into him over and over again was the worst thing I have ever seen. It was like 6 stabs in maybe 4 seconds. It was fast and rapid. I could barely even process what had happened. The men left and ran out as soon as my dad dropped to the ground. I went over to him and he was gurgling blood and looking at me with a huge amount of fear in his eyes and crying in pain. I called 911 right away, but he died before the ambulance could arrive. I told the police it was a robbery, a home invasion. I lied because I was terrified they would come back to get me if I told the police who it was. Apparently, after my dad was killed, someone snitched on his friends who killed him. They ended up in prison for an unrelated murder. My cousin worked with my dad. He was the one who told me. I went to go live with my aunt in California, across the country. I told her it was a home invasion. I told my friends my dad was dead. No more explanation. But nobody here knows what actually happened. This was 1999. I have never told anyone about witnessing my dad's death or the intense trauma it caused me for years. I went to 2 trauma specialists and therapy for a bit, but it didn't help very much. I still think of that incident every single day of my life. It makes me quiver when I think of the image of my dad getting stabbed. Such a sad and heavy story. But that is going to be some of the most haunting confessions I could find. If you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, please consider leaving a like. If you've got a story of your own, send it to my email, and I'll see you guys in the next one.